All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, at the All Star break, the New York Yankees were the talk of Major League Baseball as their 64 and 28 record had them, or their fan base rather, really anticipating a trip to the postseason. But as smooth as the first half of the season was for the Yankees, the second half has been as equally difficult. New York is only 15 and 22 so far in the second half, with their once insurmountable lead in the American League East now down to just 6 games. In August, the Yankees were in a big time funk. They lost 4 out of 6 to the Seattle Mariners. They got swept by both the St. Louis Cardinals and Toronto Blue Jays before being able to turn things around and win 5 games in a row before losing 4 out of their last 5 on their West Coast trip with 2 losses apiece to the Oakland Athletics and the Los Angeles Angels. The powerful Yankee offense has been sputtering lately, which included them only getting 3 hits last night as they were unable to get a win with Garrett Cole on the mound. And for Yankees general manager Brian Cashman, he's put this thing together. And, the Yankees, they came out in that first half of the season and they were running over everybody. I mean, they came out like gangbusters. And, you expected them to keep it up. I mean, every team has a slump in a season, especially the MLB season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And, the Yankees just got into that funk. And for the most part, so far, they've been unable to get out of it. Manager Aaron Boone, he's expressed his frustrations both to the press as well as behind closed doors to his team. But you know what? Something's got to give at some point for this squad. And I say that because the Yankees have one of the most talented lineups in baseball. They can hit with the best of them. But right now, and it's been the case for most of the season, they're just relying too much on the long ball. They're tops in the American League in home runs, but they're 10th in batting average entering play today. You think about Aaron Judge, and for what it's worth, he's hitting close to 300 this season. He's more than likely going to be the American League MVP, and he should be the American League MVP. And I said prior to the season that he was going to be in the mix due to the fact that it's his walk year, and I expected him to have a big year. But aside from him, Giancarlo Stanton, they need him back healthy. He just came back, and he provides more pop in the lineup. You have DJ LeMahieu, you have Anthony Rizzo, you have Josh Donaldson, and I can go right down the list. But these guys are hitting the long ball, but they're not hitting for average. And the Yankee bullpen, are they going to have enough in the tank when the postseason comes? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered for this team here in the stretch run of this season. And for the Yankees, it's not too many more soft spots remaining on their schedule. 3 games at Tampa Bay this weekend, which all of a sudden has become a very big series. Why? Because I talked about the Yankees lead being down to just 6 games, and Tampa Bay is a team in second place. And just for the sake of argument, should the Rays find a way to sweep the Yankees this weekend, now you're talking about that lead being down to just 3. And of course, the press in New York City is going to have a field day if that was the case. But aside from the Tampa Bay series this weekend, which is big, 4 with the Minnesota Twins in the Bronx next week. They're home for Tampa Bay for 3, at Boston for 2, at Milwaukee for 3. Another 4-game series with Boston later this month, at Toronto for 3. They're home for Baltimore, and they finish on the road with the 4-game set in Texas. So most of those teams that I just mentioned, they're in playoff contention. But I think with the Yankees, it won't take that much for them to get back on track. You just need to get a couple of breaks your way. And it looked like that was the case, recently. We saw them, answer the bell in 2 tough games with the New York Mets at home. And of course, the Mets are playing some solid baseball right now. And it looked like the Yankees were going to carry that momentum over to their West Coast trip. They took the first 2 games at the Coliseum against Oakland before dropping the last two and then losing 2 out of 3 in Anaheim to the Angels. But nonetheless, there's an opportunity for them to get back on track because let's say they can find their rhythm this weekend against Tampa Bay. For at least the last 25 years, the Yankees have owned the Minnesota Twins. So you have that 4 game set at home. Another big series next weekend at home against Tampa Bay. The Milwaukee Brewers, they're in playoff contention, but the Brewers have been up and down in the National League Central in the second half of the season themselves. Toronto, you never know how Toronto's going to be playing heading into the postseason should they get there. Boston, 4 games at the Bronx, but the thing is, what are you going to get out of Boston? Boston could be world beaters 1 minute, and they could look like one of the worst teams in baseball in the bat of an eye. But I'll tell you one thing: those last 10 games for the Yankees are not going to be easy. At Toronto for 3, they're home for the Baltimore Orioles, and the Orioles, even if they found a way to fall out of playoff contention by then, the Orioles are a very young and hungry team, and they've been playing with house money all season long. So at the end of the day, if you're the Yankees, you got to go out there and pack a lunch to beat them. And the same thing with the Texas Rangers. The last series of the season, Texas is not going to be a playoff team, but you're going to have a lot of guys in that club playing for jobs. So with that said, you cannot mail that one in if you're the Yankees and simply say you're going to go out there and win. Hey, listen, we've seen teams struggle coming down the stretch of the regular season, get it going, maybe that last week or so heading into the playoffs, and then they were able to get that momentum and do some good things for themselves in October. So maybe the Yankees can find themselves falling into that category. One good thing for them, I don't see them slumping to the point that should they win that division, that they drop to the 3 seed because the American League Central is just not that good. But for whatever reason, should the Yankees, find themselves dropping out of first in the East and Tampa Bay catches them, anything can happen in that wild card round. Obviously, it's not the winning in scenario now; it's the best of 3 with the added slot, but nonetheless, the Yankees could have their work cut out for them. But at the end of the day, they got to find a way to get it going. It's September. I still think this team has what it takes to win this division. I still think that this team can be very formidable in the postseason. But now this is dress rehearsal time. You got to see what you can do as the calendar has turned to September with October right around the corner. So hopefully for the Yankees and their sake, they can get out of their funk sooner rather than later, or else there's going to be a lot of questions and finger pointing in the Bronx for the Pinstripers. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line to be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.